Hi everyone, this is Nina from Rafaela Soul Sessions. How are we all doing? For any of you who are new or don't really know much about me, I'm a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner from Scotland, and I have this channel and all of my other social media platforms to share my journey as a quantum healer and the messages and information that I receive from the sessions that I facilitate. So I try my best to mostly share collective messages or messages that may be relevant or helpful for the collective. I don't often share session stories or summaries, and I thought it would be really nice to share this session summary from a session that I did recently. But before all of that, which is, I'm going to do all that in a minute. But before all that, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of my ongoing subscribers and likers and anyone who leaves a heartfelt comment or anyone who sends me a message of support or, something inspirational or something lovely. And indeed, thank you so much to anyone who has donated to my channel. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. I had no idea that that was a thing, and I've been receiving donations on and off for the past few years, and it means so much. Thank you. Really mean that. Thank you so much for all the support. It's hard sometimes to put myself out there, and being a single mom and having to kind of juggle my energy between, being a mum at home and doing this work and having a channel and an online presence and all of that. I'm not about followers. I'm not about popularity. I'm not about any of that type of thing. I'm just about authentically sharing what I feel is going to help people out there and giving my energy to you guys and sharing that energy with the world. So just thank you so much for being here and for supporting me. It really, really means so, so much. So yeah, anyway, back to the session summary. I did a session, was it last? It was the weekend before last, with a lovely client. She was so, just such a warm and loving energy. She was one of these people that is, she has a really lovely way of describing things that you can really relate to what she's saying. And she just has a really warm energy and a big, beautiful smile. And she was just so ready to do the work. And I love it when I get clients like that. She was just at the stage in her life where she knew she wanted to make big shifts. And so she kind of felt a bit stuck in her life. She had been in the same job for a while and dealing with a lot of the energy and the discord that was taking place in the environment that she was working in. And she'd always been really interested in the spiritual aspects of life. And she kind of always knew that she was destined to do something down that line, the healing, helping people, healing, spiritual type work, but she'd never really taken that leap. She'd also had challenging dynamics with family members, and she wanted to know why that was and what the root cause of these dynamics were and how she could navigate these patterns. She said she also felt a sense of feeling overly responsible for things in other people's lives, her clients or her family members or things like that. She felt overly responsible, I can't say that word. I should have a bloopers. She felt overly responsible for things that weren't her responsibility. And she wanted to understand where that came from, and she wanted to heal that so she could step on this path. So we had a beautiful 2-hour pre-talk, as I always do with my clients. And then the next day we had booked her session. And it was just such a beautiful session, so seamless. So it was one of those sessions that just goes exactly as it's supposed to, and there's no hiccups, and it's just seamless. And from a practitioner's standpoint, it's just a dream to facilitate. She was so ready to take on this work and dive in there and do it. And so we came into, and I've got some notes here. So if I start looking at notes, and you'll just have to excuse me. I am just trying to stay present. So we came into the first scene, and she was in this kind of forest type beautiful landscape with a waterfall in front of her, and these tropical plants and flowers and birds and noises. And she felt like a young girl that was just in this amazing space, just taking in the nature and the waterfall. She loved this waterfall. And of course, waterfalls are all about cleansing and healing and emotions. And she just felt really at peace and really happy in this space. And then we moved on to, another scene, and we went to her home and where her family was. And she was living in Hawaii. This was Hawaii we were in. And this was a community that lived and worked and, were there. And she grew up to be a wise woman. And the wise women of these communities were able to work with the community, heal the community, help the community, but they were also the mystics. So they were able to tell when there was something slightly off, or if there was going to be some kind of natural disaster. They would usually know, they would foresee what was going to happen, so they could tell the community what was going to occur soon, so that they could prepare. But then something happened, and she started to breathe differently. She said that it felt like everybody was struggling to breathe. There was something coming into their lungs, and they weren't able to breathe. And it was hot and muggy and smoky. And so we explored some more, and we were finding out what had happened. And a volcano on one of the islands that they were on had erupted, and she wasn't able to tell that this had happened or that this was going to happen. She couldn't foresee it. So she took that responsibility of not being able to help her community, her tribe, by sharing this information with them. She took that on as her own. She took that as her fault, that people had suffered and died and lost their homes. So her community relocated. It wasn't the same. It was very different. She was very depressed. She internalized a lot of this, and she ended up, living to a ripe old age. But the end of her life wasn't joyful or fruitful. She was carrying the kind of weight of feeling like she had failed her people. So that was the first life we went to, and it was the only life we went to. There was no other lifetimes that wanted to come up. So we went to the end of that life, and I brought her through to, when she left that body, beyond. And her team took her to this room, and she described it as a glowing room. And it was just like she was in this space, and there was just a white glow everywhere. And her guide came in, and her guide was called Joseph Jeremiah. And he was just letting her know that he had been with her for lifetimes and that he was always there with her. And that whenever she felt doubtful or worried or scared, that she could call herself into this room and call on this guide, and he will sit with her through whatever she's struggling with and help her process and heal whatever it is that she's needing help with. So this was a guy that was basically here saying that this is her safe space. This is her healing space, her safe space. And she, at this point, started to feel a lot of energy in her sacrum area, in her womb. She said it felt like there was two big wheels that were rolling over her stomach. She said there was just this big rolling motion happening. So I was asking what was taking place in there, and they had mentioned something about a pregnancy that hadn't come to be, and there being an imprint of that in this area, and they were giving her some healing surrounding it, and she didn't know about that, but this is what had come through. So that's when the physical healing really began. And I asked the higher self and her guides if they needed my assistance with that, or whether this was something that could just continue happening whilst we were going through the session. And they just said to continue, and they would keep going. So it was quite a powerful and quite a physical healing that was happening. It was, she was having lots of very physical sensations, and this wasn't really that long into the session. This was maybe about 40 minutes into the session that all of this healing started taking place. So I asked whether they wanted me to continue with a physical body scan, or whether I should go ahead with the questions. And we kind of came to the conclusion that it was going to be more beneficial for her to not focus on the body and just go through the questions that she had for herself. So we started to ask some of the questions about how, the questions she brought to the session for her higher self. And the answers were really just amazing. It was just so lovely to listen to her higher self and the way they were showing her who she really is and how important and how powerful she really is, and what this lifetime that she'd seen was really showing her, that her feelings of over responsibility were coming from this lifetime of being this wise woman who felt a lot of responsibility for her tribe and not being able to protect them in the way that she was accustomed to. And that those energies, that emotion had imprinted on her and had come through into this life. And so we did a lot of healing around that. We did a lot of healing around all the areas in her life where she did feel overly responsible for things. And we moved into the dynamics with her family members and why she had these challenges with them. And it was all very much centered around past life situations and dynamics that had followed through onto this life, or contracts that had been made between herself and her family members, that they were going to have a certain role and there were certain lessons that were going to be fulfilled within this lifetime, which meant that they were going to interact with each other in a certain way that was going to be challenging, because it was going to bring forward the lessons and the healing that was needed within this specific lifetime. So she got all of her questions answered, and she had some really amazing healing along the way. we took it step by step, and we just allowed the process to go as it needed to. As a practitioner, I have to keep the session going, but also I just need to allow it to open up and for it to flow the way it needs to. And this session did beautifully, and yeah, it was a lot of fun to facilitate. So we asked about what it is that she is here to do, and what she's doing now, and how she can step into the role that she knows that she's here to do. And her higher self said that she really needs to realize how powerful she actually is. She needs to take the time to look into her gifts, meditation, communication with her guides, so that she can understand that she really is a very, very powerful being. But because of the life that she's led and the situations that have unfolded in her life, that knowing has been overshadowed by the trauma and the experiences in her life. So they were suggesting that she always grounded herself and protected herself before she goes into any sort of like workplace or very public situation, because she was very, very much somebody who would take on the energies of others. She was an empath, so she needed to find ways to protect herself and just really make the space in her life for the spiritual work that she's here to do. And it was just really lovely information that made so much sense. And the way her higher self was telling her, it was just from such a loving, grounded, safe and supportive space. And it's really lovely to watch this unfold. When somebody's speaking as their higher self and sharing this information, it can be so beautiful and so empowering and powerful to watch and to listen to. So as a practitioner, it's really it's just a really amazing thing to watch people in this state going through this process. It's just wonderful. So they were telling her that she needed to make more time. Perhaps she could get a job where she didn't have so much responsibility, so that she could spend the rest of the time focusing on the more spiritual aspects of her work and what she can be doing. They suggested a few different practices that she could do. There is a lot of there was a lot of affirmations they were telling her, affirmations about abundance, affirmations about her life, about her path that they were telling her to say every day. So there was ongoing homework throughout this session as well. And then at one point her father came through, which was just so lovely. If you've heard me speak about this before, then you'll know that it's just one of the most emotive and beautiful aspects of this work when people connect with loved ones in this quantum space, because there is no veil in this space. When you connect with a loved one, they're there. It's just it's their energy. They're there. There's no separation, and it can be so incredibly beautiful. I'm getting goosebumps right now as I'm speaking about it. It can be so beautiful and emotional to connect with a loved one in that space, and so reassuring to have the information come through from a loved one. And so she got some really lovely supportive information from her father. And I also asked if there was any kind of sign that she could know that it was him when she saw that sign, and it was a rose. So that was the sign. And I love doing that. I love, having that ongoing connection and making sure that they can cultivate that ongoing connection, knowing that, they may not be in the same physical realm, but they can have that ongoing connection with each other. It's really lovely. What else came through? I'm just trying to see if there's anything else from this. The questions part of this session that might be important. She was also concerned that a member of her family had had a certain medical intervention that a lot of people are having right now. And she wanted to know if this was going to affect the family member's life in a certain way. And she got some really amazing reassurance that, that this person's plan for their life had not been changed by this decision. They were still going to have a wonderful life, no matter whether they had done this or not. So I'm trying to speak about this in a very discreet way so that, I know I don't have a huge following, but, I'm still trying to be a little bit discreet. And then there was some information that came through because I asked the higher self if there was any information about that particular thing that they wanted to share. And the higher self just kind of said, there's a hodgepodge of information out there surrounding this, and no one really knows the outcome. But from the higher point of view, they can see that a person who is perhaps more in touch with who they are, with their spiritual self, someone who can see beyond the surface, let's say, may decide that this is not a responsible decision to do this. Someone who, on the other hand, has full trust in the information from the mainstream media, may decide that this is the only responsible thing to do. But what they did say is, from our perspective, everybody is doing what they're doing for what they think is the right reasons. And no matter what anyone says, it is the individual's choice. It's no one else's choice. And no matter what information you're receiving, no matter how tight the grip becomes, no matter how backed into a corner people are feeling, when it comes down to it, really it is our individual free will choice to make. So they were just wanting to reiterate that point. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else about this lifetime. I'm sorry, this session. I've stopped thinking properly. Oh, there was a little bit about the ascension process. Yes. This information. So yeah, I asked what the client needs to know so that she can fully step into this path that she is destined to be on. And the information that they gave, I felt, was just really, really helpful for everyone, not just my client. So I thought it'd be good to share that with you. They said, don't put your focus on things or people or situations that do not serve your highest vibrational resonance. Each day, set and state your intent for what you want to create and manifest or bring into your life. Excuse me. Don't worry about the lives and actions of those around you. They live how they need to live at this present time. Don't get involved in lower vibrational situations or anything unhelpful, remember to write down a to-do list every day, whether it may be the affirmations that they'd given her, affirmations, or whether it be intentions, spiritual hygiene practices, energy cleansing around the home, or other beneficial practices that you can achieve each day. Make this your daily self-care, self-loving routine that you can pour your focus, your love, and your gratitude into every day, so that you're not just in this, a lot of people are just in this constant state of just really just being anxious all the time right now. And it's understandable. We are living in very, very unprecedented and challenging times. But they were just trying to show her that, you're going to step into this role a lot easier if you can maintain your focus on these things, on the goal that you're setting for your life and the things that you're wanting to achieve. If you pour your love into this, your focus, then that is going to help you get there so much quicker. They said, think of things that make you feel good. Do things that make you feel good. Watch comedy, watch a funny movie, watch things, or do things that are going to help cultivate joy in your life, lift you up. No matter how much uncertainty and density surrounds you, know that you can still live a joyous life. Raise your frequency. But only you can do that. No one can do it for you. You can limit how you are affected by what's happening in the outside world. What's needed is a commitment to yourself and to this timeline that you know is your calling. And once you do commit to that, then the rest will just fall into place. So that was a really lovely, lovely, lovely part. There was another message. No, I thought there was another message for the collective about what was happening right now, but I don't see it here. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe I'm just making that up. But yeah, I think it is important because we've been in this situation for quite a while now, and it is seemingly getting more intense. It's always that sort of constant juggling act of, it seems like it's getting more crazy, but at the same time, there's so many more people that are awakening to what's happening. And there's just like, every time it gets more crazy, more people rise up. And it's like this weird dance we're doing with life right now. But I truly believe that this is what most of us are here to experience, and we have come here to experience. This is what we've chosen. But yeah, to wrap up that session, it was a really profound and beautiful session. She received some really powerful physical healing. We did a body scan after we did all the questions, and we released any of the energies that were still in her system. There was a lot of references to her energies that she's brought through from past incarnations. A lot of the time, there's a lot of people who are not stepping into their role or speaking up. I work with a lot of people who have throat chakra issues, not speaking up, and it's due to persecution in lifetimes where they have said too much and something's happened to them, or that pattern has just repeated throughout lifetimes, so it's just kind of stuck. So we did a lot of healing around that, and yeah, I don't think there's anything else I need to share about that session. It was just a really, really beautiful, powerful session. I pull cards as well before I start each session with my clients. and I don't really look at them. I mean, sometimes they'll turn around and I can see what it is, but I don't look into any of it. I pull them, I put them next to where my laptop is, or I create a little display thing with crystals and I put it right next to my laptop, or if it's an in-person session, I'll put it out on a table type thing. And we don't look at the cards until after the session. And this particular session, the cards were absolutely everything we covered in this session. There wasn't an element of what we covered in this that wasn't covered in the cards. And it was just like, we looked at the cards and it was just like, wow. And I love that because it's just such beautiful confirmation of what we're doing, confirmation of the connection with the beyond that we are having. It's also just a really lovely tangible thing that my client could take away with them, and just more guidance so that they know that, you know, they're comforted in knowing that this is real and they really are so deeply loved and supported. And yeah, it's just a wonderful part of the work that I've been guided to do, just an extra thing, and it's just something I really enjoy doing. So that was a really, really lovely and enjoyable session, and it's actually been really fun sharing this with you verbally. I mean, I have lots of videos of you know, snippets of sessions, not full sessions, just parts of sessions. There's a couple that are quite long, but sometimes it's just nice to get on and talk about it and put in kind of what it's like from the practitioner's perspective, what it's like facilitating it. They're amazing journeys to take people on. It's amazing to watch people heal themselves in this way and to be of assistance. It's just it's an honor. It's an honor to do this work. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I don't know if there's anything else that I need to share. You can go on if you haven't already, you can go on my mailing list. That is, you go to my website, www.rafaelasoulsessions.com, and just wait for the little pop-up and you can get on my mailing list and keep in touch with me that way. Obviously, I'll post all of my other platforms there, because I don't post on here as regularly as I used to. I used to post like once a week. I've not managed to do that, just because I've needed to focus on my daughter quite a lot the last little while. My energy's kind of been a little bit everywhere. So but I obviously try and post as often as I can, or whenever I'm guided to. Today, I just felt the need to get on and connect with you all, because I don't like to leave you guys hanging. But you can also go to my Facebook page, Rafaela Soul Sessions, or my Instagram, and I share a lot of written messages, and it's usually the first place where I share my messages from the higher self for the collective, or indeed my own channelings from my higher self. I'm also on Telegram. If anybody's on Telegram, I know it's becoming more popular right now. I'm there. I just have a group there where I can post all my information there. So there's lots of different ways that you can access me and my information. And if anybody out there feels like this is the time to go ahead and have their very own quantum healing hypnosis session, feel free to get in touch. It is a really, really amazing time to step into and do this work. So many people are kind of, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do at this time to help? You can heal yourself. You can help yourself. You can go on your own journey to step into your own true power. And that's what these sessions do for people. And yeah, it's a good time to do it. So if you want to have a session with me, feel free to reach out. I'll leave all the information below in the description. And I hope you all have a wonderful week. And I've certainly loved coming on and sharing this session with you. I think I'm going to share more of these. I really like the communication part. I love this way of doing it. I love sharing session videos, and but I quite like doing it this way too. I like to keep things, I don't like to just do things one way all the time. I like to keep things interesting. So again, thank you so much for being there. And if you feel like you want to stay and hear more from me, then you can subscribe and do all that other fun stuff. And yeah, I'll be back soon. Thank you so much for being here. Take care. Bye.